it's really a blessing to play anywhere these days as a musician because, our world has been pretty much destroyed by COVID. There are no concerts going on hardly anywhere, especially in theaters. And I don't know when we're going to get that back. So when Larry asked if I wanted to come out and play an outdoor concert, it was a no-brainer. I love playing music and visiting with folks. So it's great to A, take a little road trip from Nashville this morning, and B, get to play some live music again. But what a time we live in, huh? Man, what a weird time we live in. Early on when the virus hit, I'm a guy, I like to drink Corona beer. And I like to drink it with a lime in it, like you're supposed to. And so sure enough, about a month after the virus hit, and I'd been drinking Corona beer, I didn't feel well. And I thought, well, darn, I better go get tested. So I did. And the guy there said, well, I got good news and I got bad news for you. And I said, well, what's the good news? He said, the good news is you don't have coronavirus. I said, great. What's the bad news? He said, you've got Lyme disease. Oh, don't groan, it's early. Yeah, so I got 90 minutes to fill here tonight, and I got more songs than 90 minutes, so I'm thinking about cutting just some of these songs really short, like this one. When she asked if I wore boxers or briefs, I said depends. That's the whole song, right? It's a smart crowd tonight now. Well, I know what you girls are thinking. You'd be half right. I ought to lose a few pounds and ride a stationary bike. If you saw me without my clothes, you'd walk away. So I'm singing this song tonight just to say, exercise makes me look good naked, but so does beer. A few Bud Lights makes the pounds magically disappear. I know a gym membership would firm up my big old rear. Yeah, exercise makes me look good naked, but so does beer. Now I could lose a few calories and keto the fat away. I could buy a pair of yoga pants and go yoga all day. Oh, but right now you can see me in a different light. Look through your beer goggles. Don't I look svelte tonight? Oh, that was pitiful, wasn't it? Exercise makes me look good naked, and so does beer. A few Bud Lights makes the pounds magically disappear. I know a gym membership would firm up my big old rear. Yeah, exercise makes me look good naked, and so does beer. Well, I know that I look better after a beer or two, but if I drink enough, you'll look good naked too. Exercise makes you look good naked, and so does beer. A few Bud Lights makes the pounds magically disappear. I know a gym membership would firm up my big old rear. Oh, exercise makes me look good naked, but so does beer. Now, if you're stone sober, don't look in the mirror. Exercise makes you look good naked, but so does beer. There you go. Can I get an amen? You know what I'm talking about. And Larry's drinking a beer right in front of me, right here. Look how good he looks. Huh? Oh, it's A. It's an. Oh, I got you. Okay. Well, you only look half good then. So that's how that works. So Larry mentioned, yeah, I'm from the state of Missouri. A little, yeah, I'm a show me. Yeah, little town called Montgomery City, Missouri. About 1,100 people, right off Interstate 70. Went to high school in Ellsbury, Missouri, on the Mississippi River, about an hour south of Hannibal. And went to college near Kansas City over in Warrensburg, Missouri, the home of the Central Missouri State University, Fighting Mules. Are you a mule? Are you a Jenny? You're a Jenny? Well, see, when I signed up for that college, I didn't know that I was going to be a jackass the rest of my life, or I'd have gone to Columbia and been a dang tiger. I can tell you that right now. So it's funny how that stuff works out. So had mom and dad, 2 brothers, 2 sisters. We were one of those families where, we didn't have a lot, but we didn't know it. That kind of deal. We were always happy growing up. And at one point, I can remember my dad had us on a little 500-acre farm. The owner of the land in this old fallen down farmhouse said my dad could have that house if we would just kind of watch the land and look over the property. So that's where we lived. It was wood stoves, no air conditioning, screen doors, outdoor bathrooms. There's a real treat for you. I am still picking splinters after all these years. And but we grew up with real food. I'm a meat and tater kind of guy, for sure. We had a big old garden that ran from about here to Fort Smith. I hated that garden. I always swore if I got out of Missouri alive, I would never eat another green vegetable as long as I live. And as long as you count macaroni and cheese as a vegetable, that would be my exception, right there. So this is a song about small towns that I wrote with my Hits and Grins buddies that we played with this show over here at the Big Theater. Steve Dean, who's from Arkansas. He's from Little Rock and Victoria Veneer. So this is I was telling them about how I grew up and said, man, let's write a song kind of like that hits home with small town folks like the folk I were when I grew up. So this is that song. And if you like real food, you'll like this song. Not comfortable with power suits. My crowd wears working boots. We don't hit the gym before morning light, no. We swing a hammer day and night. So you can take your greens and shove them in a blender. 'Cause I want to go where there's grits and gravy, and the waitress calls you baby. Haven't seen you around here lately. How's your mama? Red and white tablecloths, coffee poured while it's hot. Trucks out on the gravel, I know drama might sound crazy, but I want to go where there's grits and gravy. Big cities, yeah, I guess they're fine, but I'd rather see no skyline. We're a down-to-earth melting pot, and our mayor wears Oshkosh bagosh. So you can keep your Lexus, I'll keep my John Deere tractor. 'Cause I want to go where there's grits and gravy, and the waitress calls you baby. Haven't seen you around here lately. How's your mama? Red and white tablecloths, coffee poured while it's hot. Trucks out on the gravel, I know drama might sound crazy, but I want to go where there's grits and gravy. Oh, hee. One more time on the hee-hees. Hee. Here we go. Hee. Now here's the truth. Got more calories than we can count. Might die too soon, ain't no doubt. But at least I'll die with a good taste in my mouth. 'Cause I'm gonna go where there's grits and gravy, and the waitress calls you baby. Haven't seen you around here lately. How's your mama? Red and white tablecloths, coffee poured while it's hot. Trucks out on the gravel. I know drama might sound crazy, but I want to go where there's grits and gravy. Guess what's coming? Might sound crazy, but I want to go where there's grits and gravy. Real food, real living. So it was a rarity when my mom and dad would stop at a grocery store, because everything, honestly, that was on the table, at least from my memory as a kid, was we either got with a Remington or a Zebco. You know, we were fishing and we were hunting, and then we had that doggone garden. But on Sundays after church, they would stop at this little general store, a one-pump general store, and my dad would go in and get bologna and corn kernels, and we thought that was like heaven. And every now and then, he'd pick up a little bit of what I'm going to sing here for you. And maybe some of you will, maybe some of you have eaten some of this too. Let's see, here we go. Makes good fish bait, tastes good on toast. It's a belly filler if you're poor folk. Find it on a shelf in a Hormel can, a gelatinous gem, and they call it Spam. A little mix of ham, and I think pork parts, sodium nitrate, and potato starch, sugar and salt. What the heck is that jam? A little block of pink, and we called it Spam. Feeds a family of 4 for 3 million years. No, feeds a family of 4, 3 meals a day for 3 million years so far today. Grab a little key, twist it hard as you can, hold it upside down, slap out that Spam. A little mix of ham, and I think pork parts, sodium nitrate, and potato starch, sugar and salt. What the heck is that jam? A little heavenly pink, and we called it Spam. Well, I like it mild, and hickory smoke. Put it in a salad or a sushi roll. It's been in some wars with Uncle Sam. I've even caulked my tile with a little bit of Spam. A little mix of ham, and I think pork parts, sodium nitrate, and potato starch, sugar and salt. And what the heck is that jam? It's a mystery meat, and we called it Spam. Y'all had any of that stuff now? Yes, sir. Fried. Never got to eat in a cafeteria my entire school career because mom and dad didn't have the money for that. So we took a sack lunch back before sack lunches were cool, and we wore blue jeans before blue jeans were cool. You know, it was a sign of not having a lot of money if you wore blue jeans. But you always knew the kids that had a Spam sandwich, you know, in a bag because the grease would be underneath the bottom of it, you know? All that good stuff. I mean, that's good cooking, man. When you leave a Crisco can full of used oil on the back of the stove, you know some healthy eating is coming down. It's coming down for sure. I've got one brother who lives in Pennsylvania. He and his wife, just a few days ago, somehow, knowing my brother, somehow, miraculously, celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. I do not know what that woman sees in him. I went up to see them in Dover, Pennsylvania, and we took a little trip. Songwriters are we're kind of about, we write what we see. That's where this song came from. And I really got inspired a few years ago when I went to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Did a show with Linda Davis and Lang Scott, and we opened for the great Gene Watson at a beautiful theater there. Well, you'll get where this song is going in just a second. I hear people say I ought to slow down, that I'm living my life too fast, that I'm cell phone addicted, tweeting and a-twitting. Well, what the heck's wrong with that? I guess it never occurred to any one of them that I'm happy with the life I choose. But if I change my mind somewhere down the line, here's what I'm gonna do. I'll grow a long beard, I'll buy an old straw hat, I'll unplug my TV, I won't watch none of that Kardashian crap, and every one of my pants won't have a zipper on it. If I want to slow down, I'll join the Amish. Y'all been there, right? Well, I got a red sports car, it goes 140. It's got me a few speeding tickets, but it's worth the price for the rush I get when I'm pushing it to the limit. I got an iPad, iPod, Kindle, and a MacBook connected to the World Wide Web. But if I ever want to be bored out of my gourd, here's what I'll do instead. I'll pimp out a buggy, and I'll start churning butter. I'll change my name to Ezekiel, and you could call me brother. I'll carve a bed out of wood, I'll sew a quilt to throw on it. If I want to slow down, I'll join the Amish, and I'll buy some milk cows, and every day I'll milk them twice. And I'll color my whiskers with just hair for Mennonite, and I'll marry a girl who looks hot in a bonnet. If I want to slow down, I'll join the Amish. If I want to slow down, you'll find me horsing around in some Pennsylvania town. When I join the Amish, you want to speed that buggy up just a hair, Ezekiel? There's our little Amish song. So, thank you so much. Gosh, what a beautiful evening. Every now and then, since all of our shows have been canceled, I'm taking up most of my creative time writing songs. I signed a publishing deal with a company in Nashville a couple of years ago, and I've really enjoyed being a part of that. And every single morning, pretty much every single morning, I'll get up and write with another songwriter or maybe a couple of other songwriters, and about 95% of it these days is done on the computers, you know. A little face-to-face writing, but everybody's still being safe, so a lot of computer writing going on these days. I've written a ton of songs over the last, I don't know how many years, and every now and then you get lucky and somebody likes your song enough to record it. We had this song, I'll tell you the story behind this song. A dear friend of mine named Lisa Schaefer, who was an original member of Hits and Grins, the trio that played here last year, but she was the original girl in the group, a great country singer. She called me one day and she said, "Hey, Bill," she said, "I've got this idea for a song and you're all over this thing." So usually when a songwriter tells me that, I figure, okay, we must be going down a funny road if they're calling me to help them write their song. I found out that in Nashville, these guys and these girls that have written big #1 songs and multiple #1 songs, they can write that, but they struggle writing comedy. So I'll get a call every now and then from a really, really great songwriter, and they'll say, "Come over and help me write this funny song." And I'll say, "Well, okay, we'll write that one, but then when we're done, I want to get another date so we can write something that might make money someday." But I've had the weirdest things like that happen. And maybe I'll sing the song a little bit later for you. Wood Newton is an Arkansas native. I don't know if you guys know Wood Newton or not, but Wood is a great songwriter, and he wrote, oh gosh, "Riding with Private Malone" for David Ball, and he wrote "Bobby Sue" for the Oak Ridge Boys. You remember that song? Bobby Sue. I remember asking him, first time I wrote with him, I said, "That Bobby Sue song," I said, "did you guys actually write that into the lyrics?" And he said, "Here's the deal, his co-writer that day, they just had a baby," and he walked in and he said, "They got, the baby is driving us crazy. She's always going bottle, bottle." So they turned that into Bobby Sue, which is so crazy. So anyway, so Lisa invited me to write this idea, and the minute she told me the title, I loved the title, and I knew where this song was going to go. And then we invited a third writer who's also an Arkansas native by the name of Brent Baxter, who's just a lyricist. He doesn't even play an instrument. He's just a great lyricist. He came in and helped us write this song too. And when we got done writing it that day, Lisa and I thought it was really great. We thought it was worthy of going in and recording it ourselves as a demonstration so that we could pitch it to some country artists to possibly record someday. Well, Brent was writing for a publishing company, and they didn't like the song nearly as much as we did. And so Lisa and I said, to heck with that. We just spent our own money, and we did a little, they call them demos. We went in a studio and did a little demo, and they dropped in a special effect into this song, and it worked really great. And the next thing we know, Luke Bryan's got the song, and he's got it on hold for 6 months, and we're all excited, thinking we're going to go to the bank finally, and then he decides not to record it, and broke our heart. And then Easton Corbin picked it up, and he had it on hold for another 3 months, and then he came off of it. And about that time, Brent's publishing company woke up and realized the song was better than they thought it was, and they put it on the producer's desk who had just signed Joe Nichols. And Joe not only recorded this song, but he made it the title track of one of his albums. And I'll sing it for you, but I will tell you on the record now, there's, throughout this song, whenever you hear me pause, on the record, there's a field full of crickets going off. A whole bunch of crickets. Now, I can't do that here, so you just have to know when I pause that I need you folks to rub your legs together as fast as you can so we can recreate that little sound effect. Here's that Joe Nichols song. Past the cotton fields and the old spring mill, we laid a blanket out where the world is still, where nothing but a quarter moon lights up the dark. Just me and her letting nature work. When it feels so right, there's no need for words. All cuddled up and listening to our hearts. Crickets, itty bitty crickets, ain't another sound 4 miles around. Just listen, well, it's quiet, real quiet. Yeah, when the crickets start chirping, Lord, don't they say it all. Well, it was going great, just our third date. We were taking it slow, but getting carried away. I never knew you could fall so far so soon. Now it could have been her eyes or the Boone's Farm wine, but either way my tongue came untied, and we both heard me say, I love crickets. There ain't another sound for miles around. Just listen. Well, it's quiet, real quiet. Yeah, when the crickets start chirping, Lord, don't they say it all. Now it could have been seconds, but it felt like an hour. Then she gave me a kiss, said it's all worked out. I got my mama's white dress, my grandmama's ring, and I know a little church. Baby, what do you think? She said, what do you think? A whole bunch of them. Yeah, it's quiet, real quiet. Now when the crickets start chirping, Lord, don't they say it all. Oh, cricket, itty bitty crickets. When the crickets start chirping, Lord, don't they say it all. There you go, and that's our little Joe Nichols song. God bless him for recording that thing, for sure. It was fun making the trip over today. I'm an early riser, and that's from years and years and years of doing morning radio shows, getting up early, and I haven't been able to break the habit. So I was on the road at 4:30 this morning and rolled in about noon. Got a little nap, feel good. Man, I'm one of those guys that when I travel. I constantly see funny things. I think if you learn to write funny, you always see the funny in the world, even when other people don't see it all the time. Like north of Nashville, if you've ever gone north of Nashville on I-65 going to Louisville, I don't know how people don't laugh when they see this sign, because I do every time. There's a great big old billboard that says Nervous Nellie's Fireworks and Liquor. Now there's a brilliant combo, for you. You can get a bottle rocket and a bottle of Crown at the same time from Three Finger Fred. Just some kind of great thing. Sometimes signs will lie to you too. Like last time, a year ago when we came here, as a matter of fact, we were driving our Hits and Grins trio, and I said, I saw a sign that said Free Will Baptist Church, and I told the guys, I said, pull in. And so I don't want you, I'm telling you this because I don't want you folks to fall for this either. I went in, and they will not fill out your will for free. I mean, it's a sham, My favorite all time is Bob's Veterinarian and Taxidermy Service. These are tough times. You got to combine businesses. Bob's Veterinarian and Taxidermy. Their motto is, no matter what happens, one way or the other, you get your pet back. It's kind of a. Oh, some of you are groaning again. Here we go. So, well, you're a good crowd, and you've been patient so far. If you do this as long as I've done this, you do get to where you can kind of read people's minds, and I can read your minds. I know exactly what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, well, he's got some funny songs, and it was great that he got that Joe Nichols record. But when in the heck is he going to do a Christmas song? It's Christmas time again. I ain't hanging with a bunch of friends, but I got a glass that's chilled and some beer on ice. My Christmas tree's lit up, and so am I. So what? Don't you worry about me. No need to intervene. I'm all right. I ain't drinking alone. The dog's home, and he never says a word. Beats all I never heard. He never complains. He's always the same, not like but he don't bite. Fetches my cold Bud Lights, and there's proof again. The man's best friend don't wear a skirt. I ain't drinking alone. The dog's home. And I don't have to buy jewelry or take out a loan. He's happy with a new dog bone. And he's always there for me. And she never watered my Christmas tree. So, if I howl at the Christmas wind, I promise I'll howl with him. I ain't drinking alone. I ain't drinking alone. I ain't drinking alone. The dog's home. Merry Christmas, Hot Springs. There you go. I was reading your mind, wasn't I? I think I was. Well, I can't even tell you how blessed my life has been. Only time I had a real job was when I was real young. My dad was one of those, if you want something, boy, go out and get you a job. And if I couldn't get one, he'd get one for me. And the ones he got I hated. We were mowing cemeteries, out in the hay fields, worked in a factory for a while. I knew I could never do regular work when my dad got me a job at a little service station where you would, back in the day when you'd go out and clean the windshields and fill it up yourself, you'd run out and do that. And the guy that owned the service station was blind, and he fired me, and he couldn't even see what I was doing. So I just realized I was going to be short-lived for that kind of life. And fortunately, I learned to play guitar and started fooling around with the guitar and playing songs when I was 16 and had a band when I was 16. And at 18, I got my first radio job on a whim. I just drove up and put in an application at a one-bedroom trailer radio station in Bowling Green, Missouri. Call letters are KPCR radio, 1,000 watts. You sign it on in the morning, you sign it off in the evening, and we said KPCR stood for Cow Pasture Country Radio. Because you could hear the cows mooing out in the cow pasture if you left the microphone on, but I ain't lying, man. It was really a great way to learn radio. And then I got lucky and wound up after playing on the road with the band for years, went to Cincinnati, and a guy walked in I had not seen since he was a kid. His name is Duke Hamilton. Duke was an 18-year-old kid that worked at that one-bedroom radio station like I did, and he was now the boss of the big country station in Cincinnati, Ohio. And he came out and heard our band, and he said, man, why don't you come in and do some radio again? And so he kind of brought me into radio again, and my radio career it just really took off. I was on the air for a long, long time in Cincinnati, Ohio, and doing a morning show there, and went to Milwaukee and Indianapolis and Nashville, and got to work at a station I could only dream about working at when I was a kid. And Larry mentioned that 6:50 a.m. WSM, the home of the Grand Ole Opry. So just really blessed to have had that kind of radio career. But I've always written songs along the way too. And I was actually in a songwriting appointment when I got the word that day, Larry. I was writing with a young kid, and my phone, actually I had my computer open, and I got an email from an old boss of mine in Indianapolis. His name is Charlie Morgan, who is now the head of Apple Radio. Apple's opening its own radio station. But anyway, at that time, I had read that he'd become the president of Emmis Broadcasting in Indianapolis, and I knew they were launching a country radio station. And I'd been songwriting for a few years, and I thought, doggone, he's going to try to hire me to go back into radio. So he'd lost my number, and then he found it, and the phone rang while I was sitting in that room, and I answered like a smart aleck and said, Charlie, I said, you are not going to try to hire me to go back into radio, are you? Because I was pretty happy being a starving songwriter, to tell you the truth. And he said, no, he says, it's better than that, and I wanted to be the one to tell you that they're going to put you in the Broadcast Hall of Fame this year. And you can't plan for that happening, folks, in your life. I would have never, ever dreamed of that, because I'd come out of these old bars at midnight, 1 in the morning, and I'd turn on 6:50 a.m. WSM, and I'd listen to Ralph Emery, and I'd listen to Bill Mack in Fort Worth, Dallas, and idolize those guys. And so to have your plaque hanging alongside the legends you listened to as a kid, it's unreal. And the great part is, they have a wonderful ceremony. A lot of country artists came. Ronnie Millsap was there, and Marty Stewart was there the night where they have the ceremony. My friends Linda Davis and Lang Scott presented me that night. But I had so many great friends who traveled a long way to be there for that part of the evening, including almost all of my family. I had one brother, they're scattered all over the country, two sisters, they came from miles and miles to be there. And the best part was my father made it from Missouri, who was blind from diabetes, and it was in the last part of his life. And my daddy sat right here at a table. And so, you know, for a son to be able to say, thank you, Daddy, on that kind of platform for all that you did for me, I can't tell you how special that is. And I just think we live in the greatest country in the world, no matter what you read. And I do. I just think that if you work hard enough and long enough and you have a little skill and you don't give up on your skill set or your talent, at least in my case, sooner or later, I'm telling you, they will run out of people to put into a damn Hall of Fame. Now, I'm telling you, it happens. I'm going to do you a radio song that I wrote. That's probably the most personal thing I've ever written, because all of it's true. I do need to tell you one thing, so that you understand it in the song. Every now and then I'll be interviewed about radio. Still today, I'll get a call every now and then. And one of the questions that comes up a lot is, they'll say, what was your best day on the radio? Or what's your favorite moment that you remember on the radio? And I always give them the same answer. I always say the best day was the worst day. It was both. It was both the best and the worst day of my radio career when I was working the morning show at WSM-FM radio in Nashville. And this is amazing. I'll just tell you the whole story. A great songwriter by the name of Charlie Robinson was scheduled to be a guest on my show that morning. Charlie's written some big hits, and I was really looking forward to meeting him. And he walked in about the time our phone rang, and it was our boss saying, have you got the TV sets on? And I said, no. He said, turn them on right now. So I'm sitting here, and the TV sets are on the back wall, and I look up, and the microphones are live, and I'm trying to figure out, what am I seeing here about the time the second plane hit the second tower? And I was on the air that morning from 5 o'clock in the morning until about 8 o'clock that night, covering 9/11. So I always say it was the best day and the worst day of my life. And since we just celebrated 9/11, God bless all those heroes that day, you know, for sure. Cash. I've drug a needle through the eagles in a stack of wax, and I'm the butt end of that tired old joke. I got a face for radio. Obituaries and birthdays, I've read them both, they cut both ways. And I pimp used cars at sales remotes. Yeah, I got a face for radio, just a voice that some folks like, hiding behind an on-air light. Now they put my mug on billboard signs. Imagine that. Listen weekday mornings 5 to 9. When I wouldn't play their dang 10 in a row, they fired my face from the radio and have made you cry, and I've made you laugh. I've helped you kill time in a traffic jam. Have you been to Little Rock lately? Now when the towers fell and then the Pentagon, I held your hands on 911. It's election time, get out and vote. PSA face on the radio, just a voice that some folks lie, hiding behind a blinking on air light. Yeah, they hung my plaque in a hall of fame next to other faces that you can't name. But when they look at mine, they'll say, you know, he's got a face for radio. That's all right by me. Now, if someday it's heaven for me, I hope I'll have a face for WGOD radio. Thank you, folks. Blessed to have a great radio career. You know, one of the great things about getting to be in radio is the privilege it allows you to be in the room with people that you never dreamed of being in a room with, or interviewing people that you never thought you'd ever have the chance to interview. And over the course of a 35-year radio career, there's not many people that I haven't had a chance to talk to that were heroes of mine. And I could tell you story after story. I'll tell you a couple if you want, true radio stories. I played in a celebrity baseball game in Cincinnati one time where they had media people on one team, and on the other team were some of the old pro baseball players like Joe Torre was playing that day, and Tug McGraw was on the roster, a bunch of old pros. And so they kind of mixed the teams together, and I never asked for autographs because as a radio person, it's not really cool to do that. You're stepping over the boundaries, and you want the artist or the celebrity to feel comfortable and that you're not bugging them to death. But I sat down next to Tug McGraw on the bench, and there was a baseball there, and for whatever reason I said, Mr. McGraw, would you autograph this baseball? And he said, sure. So he did. And a bunch of years went by, and I had moved to Milwaukee to do a radio show there. And one of the first things that happened was the state fair was going on, and the big artist that year was Tim McGraw. And I took that baseball on his bus when I interviewed him, and he signed the other side of that baseball. So I got Tim and his dad, Tug, who he didn't know was his dad for the longest time. So that's just kind of a cool piece of memorabilia. And the other story I always love is we did our show one time at the Hollywood Roosevelt in Hollywood, California. We were broadcasting the Academy of Country Music Awards, and they were bringing country stars by that would sit down one after another, and they were mixed with film and theater stars that came by. And in walked Jim Backus, who was Mr. Magoo in Gilligan's Island, and I love Jim Backus. And he was in very ill health, had an oxygen tank with him and his wife and a doctor. And he was a great interview, and at the end I said, man, you know, Mr. Backus, I'm such a big fan, and I just loved, you know, Mr. Magoo when I was a kid. And he says, well, do you have my book? And I said, no. And he sent somebody down Hollywood Boulevard. They bought a book, and he opened it up and he signed it, to Bill from Mr. Magoo, which I still have today. So that's just one of the blessings of a long radio career, for sure. On the music side, this was a blessing too. I have a great friend in Gulf Shores, Alabama named Brent Burns. I'm going to do you a couple songs that we've written together. Brent plays for the tourists down there at a place called Lulu's, and he always plays a song called If It's Snowbird Season, Why Can't We Shoot 'Em? Oh, some of you are snowbirds, I see. A little close to the bone there, right? I got that. It's a funny song. So when I heard him do that, I thought, man, I want to write with this guy. So we've written a ton through the years for his albums. He does beach songs and some funny songs too. And I was down there writing with him one time, and I said, Brent, let's write a song about all the people that come down here and retire, because so many people retire in the Gulf Coast. They don't all retire here in Hot Springs, you know. And he said, okay, so we wrote the song, and it was funny. I knew it was funny, and then I really knew it was funny when the phone rang at the house one day, and the voice on the other end of the phone said, is this Bill Whyte? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, this is Ray Stevens. He said, I just recorded your song. He said, would you like to come and hear it at my studio in Nashville? And I said, well, Ray, I just threw a load of Whytes in the laundry. I'm a little... Are you kidding? I ran to Music Row, and it was just him and me in the studio, and he played that song for me in those big speakers. It's so good. It was just a rush. And so my friend Brent Burns, who I mentioned, he and I just dog each other all the time, tease each other, and try to... If you ever get to see us together, you would really enjoy that. It's stupid good. So I thought I would rub it in to Brent. So I picked up the phone and called him after I got out of the studio and said, Brent, guess what happened, man? I got to stand next to Ray Stevens, and he played us our song. And he said, really? He said, let me tell you what happened to me. Ray Stevens had a little beach place in Gulf Shores, which I did not know about. And he drove to Lulu's, where my friend Brent was playing that night, and walked in with Phil Everly of the Everly Brothers and said, would you like to hear your song? And he got to sit in the car with Ray Stevens and Phil Everly and hear the song. So I couldn't top him, you know. So, how many retired folks we got here tonight? Throw your hands up, be proud. Bunch of you, I'm betting. Man, you are going to love this song. We wrote your song right here. Here we go. We're spending all our kids' money. They're not, they're not laughing, but we think it's funny. Can I get an amen? Retired, bought a Winnebago, retired, going where we want to go, retired, to where it's never 10 below. It's a discount world for me since I've joined AARP, retired. Walking at the mall, all my friends are dead or going bald. And me, my doctor, he's always on call. Well, I was a corporate leader, now I'm a Walmart greeter, rehired. I saw a gorgeous widow cougar riding on a Vespa scooter with a guy no more than 35. I said, are you worried about the difference in your ages? She said, listen, honey, if he dies, he dies. That shouldn't be funny, but it really is, man. Retired. My working days are in the past, retired. And I can finally speak my mind at last, retired. I'm driving slow and saving gas on permanent vacation. Golf is my new vocation, and I'm retired. Well, I can't find my reading glasses. My pants need more elastic, and I can't hear. You know, I put those kids through college. If they've got so much knowledge, then why do they keep asking me for dough? The answer's no. Retired. I was a captain in the Navy, and I flew jets, and I drove the women crazy. Romance, no, I haven't gotten lazy. I'm still at attention, no Cialis intervention required. I'd leave a tip, but did I mention that I'm living on a pension and I'm retired? Yes, I'm retired. For all you retired folks, did I write your song? I think so too. I think so too. Hey, Larry, I don't have a clock. I have no idea what time it is. So when we get close, you let me know. Otherwise, I'll be here all night if you don't say something. So, you know, just kind of wave when you need one more song or let me know. And
about 40 minutes.
About 40 minutes? That's too much time. Did you say 40 minutes? Here's the other song that I wrote with Brent that I want to do for you tonight. I might do a couple of songs that I wrote with him because we've written an awful lot of funny songs. A lot of people have actually recorded this song. Cletus T. Judd recorded it for one. The song has been really good to us because it has literally made people laugh all around the world when I've played this. We were in Italy on tour, he and I were, with a bunch of parrot heads in a hotel doing a concert. And the help came and stood and listened, and the one guy didn't understand a word of English, and he laughed his butt off at this song. I don't know. Well, me and Bobby Ray were going down to a meat market just out of town. You know, but I'm being Bobby Ray, we're going down. I forgot my own words. Do you know it? Yeah, because I should retire. Me and Bobby, I've only sang this song 1,000,000 times. Me and Bobby Ray were going down. Well, I don't know what the rest of it is, but I'll get there. Me and Bobby Ray were going down. You know, a meat market where you pick up chicks. Well, knowing Bobby Ray as I do, he'll be going home alone before the night is through. He's just too dang picky. He always wants to score big. Well, I'm not leaving here alone. I'm gonna compromise early on, so I'm going ugly early tonight. She may not be a beauty queen, but that's all right. I ain't waiting around for one that looks good in the light. So I'm going ugly early tonight. So Bobby, I says, please don't stare, but check those two standing over there. He says, you mean the good-looking blonde and the one with the big zits? I said, that's right. Now here's my plan. I ain't going for Miss Scandinavia and her little chubby friend. That's my pick. You can drink 'em pretty, but not skinny. And if you get too picky now, you ain't getting any. So I'm going ugly early tonight. She may not be a beauty queen, but that's all right. I ain't waiting around for one that looks good in the light. So I'm going ugly early tonight. You really didn't miss those words earlier, did you? And there's more. Then all of a sudden, to my surprise, the good-looking one's giving me the eye, and I'm fixing to move up from a 2 to a 10. She said, my place is not far from here. I'll grab my purse. She paid for the beer, and I was getting pretty puffed up till she turned to her friend. I guess she didn't think I'd hear those hurtful words she whispered in little Chubby's ear. She said, I'm going ugly early tonight. Oh, now I got the girls back. Oh, yes. She said, I'm going ugly early tonight. This friend is better looking, but I ain't got the time. And I ain't waiting around for one that looks good in the light. She said, I'm going ugly early tonight. Well, you know she really hurt my pride, but way down deep inside, guys, I'm glad she's going ugly early tonight. There you go, little ugly music. Again, with my warped friend, Brent Burns. Man, I'm telling you. We're working on his new album right now, and there's a song on there that's it was an idea given to us by a lawyer out in California who's also a singer. He sings beach music, but he thought Brent and I should write it. It was a true story that happened to him. He and his band were playing a show at the Nudist Olympics in San Diego, California. And the contract stated that the band had to wear clothes. So he said they were the only one wearing clothes in the whole place. And they're out there playing volleyball and tennis. And so there were balls bouncing everywhere. And that line's in the song. But the song is called Suntans in Strange Places. And that'll be on his new album. Well, we wrote this little song about 4 or 5 years ago, and he put it out, and it was the title track of one of his beach albums. Beach music has gotten so big they have their own organization now, believe it or not. It's called Trop Rock Music is what it's called. They're all Jimmy Buffett wannabes, but there's a lot of talented people that are singing those songs. Some really, really talented folks, including my friend Brent. So we wrote this little song. They have a big award show every year in Key West, Florida. And I think it was maybe 2013 or 14, this song won the Trop Rock Song of the Year. So here you go, if you like beach music. I'm going to move it up a little here, a little higher. Got a little grass shack down by the water. Do this for Larry. People stop by. Sometimes they shouldn't order, 'cause me and my baby, we like to get a little cozy. So if the parrot lights are off, don't get nosy. Don't go knocking if the tiki hut's rocking. If the tiki hut's rocking, don't come knocking. If you see a string bikini laying on the front porch and a coconut bra hanging off the back door, don't come knocking if the tiki hut's rocking. Now you can come and see me any old time, but give me a call before you just drop by. 'Cause if my baby's coming over, we're gonna be tied up. And it's exactly what you're thinking. And if that ain't clear enough, I'm gonna say it again now. Don't come knocking if the tiki hut's rocking. If the tiki hut's rocking, don't come knocking. If you're standing on the deck hearing sounds of the jungle, your feet start to sway and you feel a little rumble, don't come knocking if the tiki hut's rocking. If the tiki hut's rocking, don't come knocking. If you see a string bikini laying on the front porch and a coconut bra hanging off the back door, don't come knocking if the tiki hut's rocking. Now remember sometimes when you show up here, just 'cause the sun is shining don't mean the coast is clear. No. Don't come knocking if the tiki hut's rocking. If the tiki hut's rocking, don't come knocking. If you're standing on the deck hearing sounds of the jungle, your feet start to sway and you feel a little rumble, don't come knocking if the tiki hut's rocking. Oh, don't come knocking if the tiki hut's rocking. The Trop Rock Song of the Year, don't come a-knocking. The tiki hut's rocking. Thank you. Some beach fans, apparently. So, Brent told me he thought some of his friends might be coming here tonight. Are y'all here? A couple? Is that y'all? Thank you for coming. Huh? You went to, you saw him at Lulu's? You went to church with him? Well, that last song was not in the hymn book. I can, you can turn the pages all you want to, but it ain't going to be the page after Old Rugged Cross. It just ain't, Thank you for coming tonight. He told me you guys might be coming. Nice to have you here. So, he's a nut, isn't he? He is truly a nut. I wrote a baby song here a few years ago that turned out really good, and I'll tell you the story behind that. There's a young artist, his name is Paul Bogart, and if you like George Strait, you would love this kid. He's such a great country singer from Oklahoma. He recorded a song of ours called All That Cowboy Jazz, which is a big Western swing song, and they did the video out in Oologah, Oklahoma. And they got all the town folk in the video, and the best part is the little bar owner, this little dive bar owner, liked the song and the video so much. If you ever go to the Iron Horse in Oologah, Oklahoma, and you walk in, you will see on the dance floor written All That Cowboy Jazz. It's their logo, which is really, really cool. Paul's getting ready to have his third little baby. The second baby, well, I'll tell you that story after I do. No, I'll tell you that now. There's a new baby song coming called The Ballad of Exit 199, because Paul's second little boy, his little buckaroo, second little buckaroo, was born on I-40 East in the middle of the night. The baby dropped out on the truck floor. He said it sounded something like this, sploosh. So there's a song coming called The Ballad of Exit 199, which is the entire story of that night and how that baby was born. But his first little boy, he told me he and his wife had been singing lullabies, or trying to sing lullabies and sing songs to put him to sleep every night, and they couldn't think of anything good. So he thought, I'm a songwriter. I want to write a lullaby for my little boy to sing to him at night. And so he had started this idea, and he showed it to me, and he said, you might not want to write this because it's so personal. He said, but if you do, we can. And boy, if you listen to the first 4 lines when I start singing this song, those were the 4 lines that he showed me. And I went, oh man, Paul, I really want to write this song. So we wrote this little song for his boy, but I think the song applies to all of us who are blessed to be parents. You don't have to be a cowboy to be blessed by this song, but it's called Buckaroo Lullaby. Here we go. Go gather old buckshot and pour him some grain, and curry the burrs from his hide. Throw on your best saddle, tighten it up, and crawl in the middle and ride down through the canyons where the river runs clear and the coyotes howl like the wind. Now old Buckshot's sure-footed, and he's been there before, and he'll bring you back home again. So dream innocent dreams as long as you can. Go on and close your little blue eyes. And then tomorrow night we'll sing it again, this buckaroo lullaby. Buckaroo lullaby. Now keep your eyes peeled as you go down the trail for bandits and ornery outlaws. And take that Red Ryder and keep it real close, and always be quick on the draw. Dream innocent dreams as long as you can. Go on and close your little blue eyes. And then tomorrow night we'll sing it again, this buckaroo lullaby. Buckaroo lullaby. Now you'll outgrow your PJs, and this bed'll get too small, and like Buckshot, away you'll both ride. But when you have your own, you'll still have our song to sing to him every night. So dream innocent dreams as long as you can. Go on and close your little blue eyes. Then tomorrow night we'll sing it again, this buckaroo lullaby. Buckaroo lullaby. It's our little cowboy song for his boy. So the third one's on the way. I told him if he could just pop out, and he and his wife could just pop out about 8 more kids real quick, we could do a whole album, so trying to get him to do that. Man, as songwriters, you just want to hear, the biggest thrill you can ever get as a songwriter is if you get to hear your song on the radio. And some guys get it a lot, some guys don't get it all that much. So for me, it's a thrill every time that happens. And here a few years ago, a song that I wrote with Steve Dean, who I mentioned earlier, from Little Rock, Arkansas. I was driving through Nashville, had my radio on to the sports talk radio station, and on came a song that Steve and I had written, and I about drove off the road. It was that thrilling. And it's probably the most played song I've ever had on the radio, so I want to share it with you here. Who do you call when you need a new floor? R&S Wood Flooring, or refinish the old one that you've got? R&S Wood Flooring. R&S Wood Flooring. Customer service and satisfaction. R&S Wood Flooring. R&S Wood Flooring. R&S Wood Flooring. By God, I've arrived now. I'm telling you. Song went plywood. I didn't get any free flooring out of it either. Just a dumb jingle. So, all right. I would like to do for you folks, because you've been such a good crowd, I would like to do for you the stupidest song I've ever written in my life. Don't say I didn't warn you. I've done a Google search and the answer wasn't there. Frankly, I don't think these can be answered anywhere. But if I could find a genius who would be up to the task, these are some questions that I'd ask. Like, why do women go to bathrooms in packs? Who jerked the first chicken? What's up with that? If Don Ho ran a brothel, would they call him Don Hose? This really is a smart crowd now. Did Ray Charles cut Don King's hair? That's what I want to know. Would Dolly Parton drown if she floated on her back? Oh, these are the questions that I'd ask. Y'all ask your own questions. Oh, I told you it was dumb. Well, sometimes I can't sleep at night when I lay down in bed from unanswered questions that keep running through my head. In my mind, old Einstein says, go ahead, I'll take a crack. And these are the questions that I ask of old Albert. And I'm going to apologize for this one before it comes out of my mouth. If Adele married a farmer, would there be a farmer in Adele? I apologize, don't be booing. What the heck do you see exactly in a Victoria's Secret half-off sale? Does Indiana have a little package liquor store with a sign that reads, who's your liquor, hanging on the door? Does anybody ever get all the lead out of their pants? Oh, these are the questions that I'd ask. And if the Siamese twins made a record, would some disc jockey play them back to back? Oh, these are the questions, these silly questions. These are the questions that I'd ask. telling you about Wood Newton earlier and got off track, was talking about all the wonderful, great #1 songs that man has written. So envious. But this is the song that he wrote with me. And if you go to YouTube, I did a house concert over near Fort Smith one night. Wood Newton also played that same house. And Larry Wilson went over there for both of those shows. And he taped Wood singing this song, and he taped me singing this song. And then he mashed the two together. So you can find that on YouTube. And then you'll go, why did I just watch that? I know you're kinda new here on this side of town, and you may not know how quickly ugly rumors get around. It's about that married woman that you see on the side. Here's some been there, done that, expert, totally free advice. If you're not careful, my wife's gonna leave you. You better not run around, don't be untrue, 'cause I prefer that you keep her so only one of us gets screwed. If you're not careful, my wife's gonna leave you. He couldn't have given me Bobby Sue, he gave me this. Well, I didn't mean to make you get choked on your beer, but if my wife saw you with that tramp you drug in here, she'd get so mad it'd hit the fan, and she might come back to me and proceed to make both our lives a total misery. If you're not careful, my wife's gonna leave you. You better not run around, don't be untrue, 'cause I prefer that you keep her so only one of us gets screwed. If you're not careful, my wife's gonna leave you. Well, I can't afford a big divorce. I love my house and cars. Why don't you and me just agree to leave things the way they are? Everybody sing. If you're not careful, my wife's gonna leave you. Better not run around, don't be untrue, 'cause I prefer that you keep her so only one of us gets screwed. If you're not careful, my wife's gonna leave. With Wood Newton, there you go. Arkansas boy. Well, I mentioned earlier, I play out on the road with two trios when the world is normal. Hits and Grins that I mentioned, but the other trio is with Linda Davis and Lang Scott, and some of you have seen that show. I know it's a great show called Evening in the Round, and if Linda Davis's name doesn't strike you, you certainly know one of the songs that she was on. She was the co-singer with Reba on Does He Love You, and that won the Grammy Awards and all those awards, and her husband and her played for Reba for 6 or 7 years. They were hired in the worst kind of circumstances. They were part of the new band that went in after Reba's band died in that plane crash. They literally live around, they're about a mile from where I am. I found that out when I moved to Nashville, and Linda and I started writing together, and then I got to know Lang, and the three of us have become like family, and we've traveled all over the country doing shows together. Their oldest daughter is Hillary Scott, who's the girl singer in Lady A. And their youngest daughter, Riley Jean, is also a great singer. And Riley goes out on the road with some, and she's singing some now herself with us when we go, which is a great treat, always. Yeah, you know Riley Jean. I love her. Lang lost his dad to cancer a few years ago. Hillary's grandfather, that she was very, very close to. And they told the story on the rainbow, like a rainbow bridge or something on the internet, where they shared the entire ordeal, what was going on, so people could follow along. And they had people reach out to them from all over the world. And so when Hillary came off the road one time with Lady A, Lang, her father, went to her and said, "Hey, Hillary, would you go to your record label and ask them if they would give you permission to record some old gospel songs with just the family that we could send to those people that were so nice to us to say thank you?" And sometimes record labels won't do that. So she went out on the road and she thought about it. When she came back, she said, "Daddy, I've thought about it, and if we're going to do this, I don't want just those folks to hear it. I want the whole world to hear it if we can." So she went to her record label and they green-lighted a major, major contemporary Christian album for the family to do. And they started looking for songs for this album. Lang sent me a note, and it was Hillary who'd poured out her heart in a paragraph. He said, we're doing this album and we're going to dedicate it to my dad. So if you've got any songs that might fit the theme of this album, send them to us. And then he sent me a note from Hillary where she poured out her heart about who her grandfather was to her. She called him Papaw. He called her Sugar Babe. And she said in times of trouble, she always considered her grandfather to be her safe haven to run to. So I got that note one night, and the next morning I had a songwriting appointment with Jimmy Fortune, who used to be the tenor singer for the Statler Brothers. And the very first song Jimmy Fortune ever wrote in his life, was "Oh, Elizabeth." It was a #1 song. First song he ever wrote. I hate him. So I'm in the room with Jimmy Fortune, and I'm also in the room with a young lady named Sydney Perry, who's a great singer. She's been out on the road with Patty Loveless and with Jimmy, and these days she's out on the road with Carrie Underwood, singing the high harmony parts and playing fiddle. Her daddy's a preacher. So, and Jimmy is very, very strong faith-based. So I thought, okay, I'm in the right room to share this paragraph. So I read them that paragraph that Hillary had sent out. So I kind of got the Paw connection, and Jimmy saw the safe haven part, and we wrote a song. We recorded it on my phone. I sent it to the father that day, and a couple of days later he said, "We think we might love this song enough to record." And they did. They put it on the album about her grandfather. I can't tell you what a blessing the song has been because it's so personal about him. I thought, gosh, if they don't record this, if they don't like it, and the odds would be that they wouldn't because it's so hard to get a song recorded, that nobody would be able to relate to it except them. And that's turned out to be absolutely wrong because we get so many emails. So many people have used this at funerals for the passing of their own loved ones that it's just, the stories are really, truly unreal. And the great part about it is Ricky Skaggs produced it, Bruce Hornsby's on it, the Whytes are on it. It's an unbelievable album called Love Remains, and our little song is tucked on there. My wife, she is the healthiest person you've ever seen. Nothing bad ever goes into her mouth. She is not a grits and gravy person. I don't know how she does it. To her, tofu tastes great. She's one of those. But out of nowhere, all of a sudden, she took a liking for Chick-fil-A nuggets. And I thought, that is the greatest thing. She's actually eating something I like. So on our 35th wedding anniversary, I couldn't be home, so I called my daughter, Heather, up in Clarksville, Fort Campbell, and I said, "Heather, you got to help me out. I'm not going to be home. I need you to get something for Mom that'll be nice." And she said, "Okay, Dad." And I said, "Now here's what you do." And I said, "Put it in a nice little bag, and I want you to walk in the house, FaceTime me with it so we can all see it when you give her the present." So she said, "Great." So she did. And so phone rings. We're like outside of Dallas. and all three of us are watching. I'm holding it up, and I said, okay, we're watching. So she goes up the steps, and she sneaks in, and she's got this decorative bag. It's really cool. She walks up to my wife, and here comes my wife, Kathy. She goes, well, what is this? And I said, well, happy anniversary, baby. And she said, well, what is it? And I said, open. So she took all the stuff out there and got to the bottom, and the bottom of the bag were 35 Chick-fil-A nuggets. That woman was so hot for me when I got home. You want to know the key to a long-lasting marriage? Chick-fil-A nuggets. I'm telling you. So anyway, so my wife, on her bucket list of things that she wanted to do, she wanted to see Andrea Bocelli sing live. So I surprised her one Christmas, and I got tickets to see Andrea Bocelli in Miami, Florida. And we were in our room in Miami before the concert, and I had my laptop open, and the Grammy Awards are going on. And I'm watching the backstage awards. They don't show all of them on TV. And they were showing the Grammy Awards for the Best Contemporary Christian Album of the Year, and that album won that year, won the Grammy. They also won a single. So this little song that I'm going to play for you about Lang's father and Hillary's grandfather that Hillary sings on the record is on that Grammy-winning album. So I'm definitely proud of this song. My papa was a big old man, held the world and me in the palm of his hand, held us all together, the family cornerstone. His voice was deep just like his faith, and he always called me sugar babe. What I wouldn't give to hear I love you one more time. He loved to read John 3:16, tap along to hymns we'd sing. He left us so much more than earthly things. Sometimes when there's no answer, no reason for the pain, and I just can't wrap my head around the why of things that come my way, I still believe you hold a place for us in heaven. So even when my faith on earth is shaken, you're my safe haven. He said, my home's not here, no, I'm not bound. My hope is built on higher ground. Child, where am I going? Goodbye don't mean a thing. Yeah, there's gonna be some things I miss, but don't forget God promises we'll be together on the other side. Sometimes when there's no answer, no reason for the pain, and I just can't wrap my head around the why of things that come my way, I still believe you hold a place for us in heaven. So even when my faith on earth is shaken, you're my safe haven. Now it's comfort for this heart that breaks to know you're in a better place, and I know I'll see your loving face again. I still believe you hold a place for us in heaven. So even when my faith on earth is shaken, you're my safe haven. My safe haven. Yeah, my papa was a big old man. He held the world and me in the palm of his hand. Thank you. I couldn't do it this year because of COVID, but I've had the pleasure over a couple of years running. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you being here. I hope you had a good time. Thank you. Yes. I've had the pleasure of getting to play music on the Grand Canyon Railway for a couple of years, which is quite the experience. Has anybody ever done that, ridden the Grand Canyon Railway? Isn't that great? It's great fun. The train runs every day from Williams, Arizona to the south rim of the Grand Canyon. It's about a 2.5-hour train trip to the canyon. They get about 3 hours at the canyon, then it's a 2.5-hour train trip back. And they have entertainers on the train, and you go car to car to car, and you just entertain the tourists that are on board the train. And I had a friend who had worked the train that I got to know, and he invited me to come out and do it, and it was just great fun. And the first time I did it, I worked an entire week. And the very last day when we were coming back from the south rim of the Grand Canyon to Williams, Arizona, the last car that I worked before I was going to fly back to Nashville was up in one of those dome cars that's so beautiful where you see all the scenery. And all I had done for the entire week was funny songs to make them laugh. I'd do about 3 songs in every car and move on and do 3 songs in another car, 3 songs in another car. And so here's the last set I'm going to do. And this lady, this elderly lady, when I walked in, she said, "Are you the guy with the Grammy?" And I said, "Well, yes, ma'am. How did you know that?" And apparently one of the other young entertainers had told her they had a special guest on the train for that week only, and had told them about me. So she said, "Would you please do that song, the song I just sang, Safe Haven?" And I said, "Well," I said, "it's a Christian song." I said, "I pretty much do funny songs on the train. I don't know if it's appropriate or..." And everybody said, "Do it, do it, do it." So, only time I ever sang the song, I sang it then. And about halfway through the song, I looked over at her, and she was crying, and she was singing every word to this song. She had found this song and loved it off of that album. And when I got done, another lady on this side of me was tugging my elbow, and she was crying. And she was pointing out the window of that car, and I swear to you, a double rainbow had gone up over the car, like that. The only time I sang that song. So, you know, I don't know what that means exactly, but it made me believe a little more after that, that's for sure. So, how we doing, Larry?
Make you sit.
Huh?
We're at 8:30.
Okay, so we can wrap up anytime?
Wrap up, I'll come up and do.
Okay, see you later. You guys have really been great. Thank you so much for treating me so nicely. This is such a beautiful place. Would you give a great round of applause to our sound guys up at the picnic table there? Man, it sounds like $1 million here tonight. And thank you guys for making this so easy. I do have CDs, or somebody's going to, where are they, Larry? Are they at the top of the hill, or where are you selling them? You're going to sell them here?
I'll sell them right there.
Larry's going to sell them. I'm not going to autograph for your safety or my safety, but if you do want one, a lot of the funny songs, they're all funny songs on these 2 albums. If you want one, they're $15. And the good news is tonight that half of the proceeds from the sales are going to go towards buying a full set of clothes for the girls on Dancing with the Stars this year. So you do some good with your money, you know. So, but I appreciate you being here. I'm going to close with this song, which is on the CD that you'll see if you come down here. This is on the CD that's got Ugly Early's on one of the albums too, if you like that song. Retired is on one of them. But this last song is the title track of the CD that's got a rubber chicken on the front of it. And this song is going to explain to you why there's a rubber chicken on the front of a CD. I am of the theory, most of the songs I write, you wouldn't believe it, are actually serious songs. I write every day, and I'm trying to write a hit. But I love writing funny songs too, and you know why? Because I love to see people laugh. I love hearing laughter. And especially at this time in our lives, I think we need to laugh every chance we can possibly get. So it's a pleasure to come here to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and make you folks laugh tonight, for sure. And this is a little song about that, and then I'll leave you, and thank you for coming. Well, I went fishing down by the river where the muddy water meets the dam. I saw old Joe, and he was reeling. Said, grab that net, boy, give me a hand. I stuck the handle down in the water, and I heard him cackle when he pulled it in. It wasn't catfish, weren't no trophy, it was a yeller rubber chicken. I said, old Joe, you must be crazy. He said, maybe, but here's what I know. Don't take yourself all that serious and leave them laughing when it's time to go. Ba-da-da-da-da, 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 ba-da-da-da. Now, folks, out there on the lawn, listen to me. That right there is the participatory part of this song. So the next time around when we do that, participatory. We fished for hours. He said, I'm sorry, we didn't catch one doggone thing. Unless you count that rubber chicken. He started cackling once again. When I got home, showed it to my family, my yellow rubber trophy catch. My wife said, baby, you should mount it. My boy said, yeah, Dad, like Billy Bass. And we stayed up past their bedtime. There was no fire, but you could feel the glow. And I could hear that old man cackling, leave them laughing when it's time to go. Help me out now. Ba-da-da-da-da, 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 ba-da-da-da. All right, we're going to do it one more time. And this next time, I want them to hear you ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-das in Fort Smith. Pretend you're a Baptist with Tupperware. Just let it go. Burp your bowl. When old Joe died, they held his funeral down by that muddy riverside. 500 folks went down to see him, and I went early to be the first in line. Paid my respects and thanked the old man, and as I turned to walk away, I heard the sound Joe most cherished on his happy funeral day. And when I die, return the favor, put off your tears, put off your woe, and leave a chicken in my coffin like I did for my friend Joe. Yeah, leave a chicken in my coffin and leave them laughing when it's time to here we go. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. Come on now. Ba-da-da-da-da, 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 ba-da-da. One more time. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da. Listen at you now. Ba-da-da-da-da, 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 ba-da-da-da. That was great. Guys are such a great crowd, but you are gonna hate me in the morning. Because when you wake up, you ain't gonna get that out of your head. And leave them laughing when it's time to go. It's time for me to go, folks. I'm Bill Whyte. Thank you so much for coming. Great crowd. God bless you.